Hey there! In this video, we are going to cover Pandas series. Pandas has two important data structures, series and dataFrame. You can think of a dataFrame as a table and each column of the table as a series. As this video is about Pandas series, let me give you the proper definition. A Pandas series is a one-dimensional labeled array which contains three components: the index, the values, and the name. And I want you to remember that a Pandas series contains an index which plays an important role of how we can deal with this data structure. Now, the question is, how will you use series when working with Pandas? Most of the times, you have a data frame. In my case, I have a data frame about football teams, and I want to answer some questions like, what is the team with maximum or minimum offense stats? How many teams per league are there? Which teams starts with the letter R? And to answer all these questions, you need to access an individual column. And as you saw, a column is nothing but a series. And then you have to manipulate it using all the methods and attributes that a Pandas series provides. Let's get started. The first thing you have to do is to import all the libraries we want to use. In this case, I'm going to import Pandas and NumPy. Now that we have access to the Pandas library, to create a series is quite easy. We only need to call the series method. You type pd, why pd? Because we imported pandas as pd, then .series. Let's inspect this method. You're gonna see that the arguments are data, index, the type, name, copy, and this fast path. And I told you that the series is basically defined by three components: the data, the index, and the name. Let's check the data. If I just scroll down, let's go to parameters. Yep. You see that data can be any array like iterable, dict, or scalar value. It means that there are different ways to create a Pandas series. But I want to tell you that it's not that common that you're going to create a Pandas series manually. This is the reason why I'm going to show you quite quick all these options. Then let's go one by one. The first one is create a Pandas series using list. We call the series method. Then we are providing a list, also the index. If I run this cell, we get on the left side the index and on the right side the value of this Pandas series. We can also create a Pandas series using a NumPy array, and note that I'm no longer providing the index. And by default, if you don't provide the index is going to start with 0. The third way is creating a Pandas series using a scalar value. This is actually quite useful. We are providing only one value, but the index is a list of how many values? 1, 2, 3, 5 values from A to E. If I run it, the number 13 is repeated 5 times. And this is the idea of broadcasting, which comes from NumPy. And don't forget, Pandas is built on top of NumPy, and you're gonna see a lot of similarities between Pandas series and NumPy arrays. And finally, you have the way that I liked the most. If you want to choose only one way to memorize how to create a Pandas series, this is definitely a dictionary. Using the dictionary is quite simple. The keys of the dictionary will become the index of the Pandas series, and the values of the dictionary will become the values of the Pandas series. Alright? Let me run here. And what is this name here? Well, when you create a Pandas series manually, it doesn't make much sense to put a name. But the idea is that when working with a data frame, the column has a name, right? And this name, in this case values, will be the name or the header of this column. As I mentioned, you don't need to memorize all these ways to create a Pandas series. We are here interested in how to deal with that, alright? Then let's start with basic operations on series. The first basic operation is how to access and set elements to a Pandas series. Let me just create my Pandas series. Okay, we create that from a dictionary. Now let's take the first element. We can use the standard indexing from Python using the 0, right? So 0 will point to the first element, then it's going to return 10. But remember that Pandas series has also an index. What is the index of the first element? Well, it is A. Then it also returns the same value. Okay, that's quite easy. Now let's access more than one element. How to do it? Let's take the first and the last element. And if you don't remember, you can point to the last element using -1. If I run it now, it's going to return an error. Why? Because it's expecting then a list. Let me run it. Perfect. We get A and E. All right. And how to do that using the index label? It's also quite easy. We also provide a list. What is the first element that we want? Is A. What is the last element that we want? Well, is E. Then, if I execute it, we get again A and E. Now, let's learn how to set values to a Pandas series. Let's then set the first element to 100. I will say, okay, the first element is 100. I'm gonna print the series. I can also set using the index label. I'll set now to 200. Let me then also print the series. And we can do the same here. In this case, let's set the value map to A and E to 0. Now we'll set 0. I will then print this array and look what we get. The first and the last elements are 0, and I can do the same here using now the index label. I'll no longer use 0 but 1000. And if I run it, I forgot to print it, right? And if I run it, you see that the first and the last element now are 1000. We can also slice Pandas series. Let me just show you. Let me print it again. And our goal now is to get the indices A, B, and C. And how to do that using the index? Well, what is the first element is 0. Every time you want to slice, use the column. We saw that using list and numpy as well. And this is important. When you want to slice, the last number is always excluded. Then if I want to get C, I should give 3. So the index 3. Why? Because if I let 2, and then you see that it returns only A and B. And if I want to have C, again, the last number is excluded, and this index then should be 3. Okay, how to do that using the index label? What is the first element? Well, it's A. Then I want to slice, I use a column, and this is something that you need to know. When using the index label, the start and the end indices are included. Let me just run it. Then you get from A to C. And by the way, what am I getting here? If I ask for the type of this object, I hope you're gonna know the answer. That's a Pandas series, all right? And how do I know that? Again, because it has an index on the left side, the values on the right side, then I know it is a Pandas series. And for set values quite quickly, let me just set then ABC to, let's say, 2000. Let me just add it. Let's print it. Okay. Now, if I don't want to set everyone to the same value, what I can do, that's going to be a list. I want to give 1, 2, and 3. Then you get 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, we talk a lot about it, but there is a better way to do it. And when we start talking about methods and attributes, we're gonna see two important methods called iLock and lock. Okay, let's learn something a bit more advanced, but very, very useful, not only for Pandas series, but also when we start talking about Pandas dataFrame, and that is Boolean filter. Let me just print my Pandas series. Note that I'm not using the index parameter, therefore our index starts with 0. And now what I want to show you is that we can do selections in the Pandas series using this idea of a Boolean filter. What is a Boolean filter? I can take my series and I can make a test. For instance, I want to check where are the elements which are greater than 30, for instance. What I get is a Pandas series which the elements are Boolean or of the Boolean data type. And you can see that 10 is not greater than 30, therefore it returns false. Now, how to get this result to filter a Pandas series? As you want to select, it should come between brackets, as we did before. Now, what is the name of my series? Well, it happens to be my series. Let's run it. And what is this one again? Is this Pandas series. Now I want to filter this Pandas series where this condition returns true. Therefore, we only get from 35 to 50. And if you want to use multiple conditions, well, it's also possible. Let me just copy this code here. Just bring it, so give him some space. Now let's get the values which are, let's say, greater than 20. And now it's gonna be funny. Smaller than, let's take smaller, equal to 40. Two important information here. When you want to have multiple conditions, each condition should come in parentheses. So let me just put parentheses here, and now if I type AND, it will not work. So AND is a, let's say, a saved word from Python, but what we are doing here comes from NumPy, and NumPy is written in C. Then there is no AND as I'm showing you here. So AND for C is this operator. Actually, it's the double operator, but I believe that the reason why we should use this operator is because NumPy is written in C, but whatever. All of this to say, if you want that to work, you should use this symbol here, and this means AND. Now, if I run this code, we are basically filtering this Pandas series with this condition. I want to get the values which are larger than 20, so the minimum is 25, perfect, and smaller equal to 40, it's also there. All right, let me then just take this example here. Let's learn about the OR operator. The OR operator, again, you cannot type OR, you should use pipe. Now, if I run this code, obviously I'm gonna get everything, right? Yeah. Then let's just switch. Let's say smaller. This one greater. Yeah, there you are. Now you get the values which are smaller than 20, so 15 and 10, and greater equal to 40, which is 40, 45, and 50. This is important to understand because we're gonna do that a lot with Pandas dataFrame. What about math operations on series? This is very similar to NumPy array. We can perform operations on a single Pandas series or between series. Let's start with a single series. I will just create a series from a list. Then let me create it. If you want to add 2 units to each element, well, I add 2. And what we get is again a Pandas series, but now each element is added of 2 units. And you can do whatever you want. If you want to decrease, yep, you do that. If you want to multiply, you can also multiply, no problem. If you want to do exponentiation, you can also do it. This is basically operating a NumPy array. All right, but what about math between series? And here there is one specific point that you should pay attention. Look at this example here. The first case, both series, the series 1 and series 2, both have the same index from 0 to 4. The picture here can be represented by this code, right? And what if I want to sum element-wise the series 1 with the series 2? Well, you only need to say series 1 plus series 2, no problem. And same holds true for multiplication, division, and so on. As long as both series has the same index, then it's gonna work as an NumPy array without any issue. Our second case is, imagine if you have 2 series, but they do not share the entire index. Let's say the series 1 starts from 0 to 4, but series 2 only has the index 0, 1, and 2. What if I want to sum them up? Let me just execute this code. Now, if I say series 1 plus series 2, what's gonna happen? Index 0, 1, and 2, it works as before. It's going to sum up the elements of the series element-wise, so 10 plus 30, 20 plus 70, and so on. But as soon as it reaches the index 3, the series 2 has no index 3, therefore it will return a NaN, which stands for not a number. Then every time you get a not a number from your operation, just check if both series have the same index. And that you'll do for this tutorial. But before I finish, let me just show you where you can find all the notebooks of this course. If you go to my GitHub account, you will find the content of this course in this README here. Alright? And what is important, the course is not closed, so I'm still developing that. And if you want to see what is coming next, it's here. So Pandas course, notebooks, this one is already there, series, and the next one is going to be on dataFrame. However, if you click on this link here, you're going to find this notebook, and there is one more subject missing, which is methods and attributes. Where is it? There. And this is going to be the topic of the next video. Then, see you in the next one.